Yo, what up? I'm Marquette, and I wrote The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. It's a fictitious mystery about a boy with autism and his journey to learn who killed the dog Wellington. Yo, what up? What up?
It all started when Wellington was dead. He's a dog from Mrs. Shears, and I loved him. So I hugged him with all my might. Then Mrs. Shears came out and started shouting at me and saying really mean things, like the F word. So I got down and started groaning because I didn't know what to do. Then a cop came up, and he was, I felt safe because the cop was there, but he started yelling at me, kind of, and then he tried to touch me. So I punched him as hard as I could, and he didn't die, but he said, "No more of that tomfoolery, young man." So he took me to his cop car, and now I'm getting inside his cop car here. And he took me to the jail place where the people go to jail. But first they had to take all of my possessions off of me, and the policeman said, "Hey, look at this cool green screen." He said, "Hey, you need to take off your belt." And I took it off because they didn't want me to hang myself with it. And that was completely understandable because cops are just trying to help out. And he said, "Empty your pockets." So I gave him a few things like my lip balm and my wrapper and a suction cup. And I checked all my other pockets. He said, "You have anything else?" And I pulled out my sword from the back of my shirt. And he was like, "Thank you for the sword." And then I grabbed my sledgehammer, and it was really nice. But then he said, "All right, thank you for unloading your stuff." And I said, "Oh," I spat at him, and he was like, "Sick, dude, that's awesome." And then I got put in jail. And when he opened the door, I went inside, and it was really nice. It was a really nice jail cell. I really like this jail cell he put me in. I looked at the corners. I looked at that corner, and then I looked at that corner, and then I looked at the floor eventually. But then I looked at that corner, and then I looked at the ground, and I said, "Wow, this is a 12 by 12 meter jail cell," and I'm really smart because I knew that because I can look at things. And then my dad came in and he started shouting at the police officer. I knew it was my dad because I could hear him through the jail cell, and the police officer was like, "You're not my son." And I was like, and I wasn't there, but my dad was fighting to get me out, and then the police officer said, "Okay, you're his dad, okay?" And they shook on it. And then he came over to me and we hugged with our hands because that's how I do it, because if I get touched, I punch people as hard as I can. I then started writing a book once I got out of jail about how I was going to figure out how someone killed Wellington, because that's how I got put in jail in the first place. So I started interviewing people, like this old lady. And I was like, "Hey, do you know who killed Wellington?" And they said, "I think someone over there did." And there's no one over there. And then she, because this old lady, and then she did that, and I got scared. So I ran away. And I ran away as fast as I could. And then I tripped and fell. And then I had my journal that I was writing in about finding the dog Wellington, see who killed him. And my dad found it, and it was really, really bad and scary because my dad is he gets really mad really easily about things that shouldn't be done, I guess. I don't know. I was just doing some detective work, and he didn't like that. So he got really mad, and I was watching TV, and then he had my book, and I didn't like that he had my book. So I took out my knife and I started to stab him, and he tried to fight back, but I was too strong, and I didn't kill him, but I stabbed him. And then he slapped me and I didn't die, but I fell asleep. So then after he went somewhere, I had to go look for my book that I needed. I needed to find my book that I was writing in. Because if I didn't have that book, then I wouldn't feel like a real boy. I smelled the coffee and it was really gross. I remember that. It was really gross. It made me gag. And so I kept looking for the book, and I found it. It was underneath in the shelf, and there's lots of papers underneath, and there was a letter from my mom, who I thought was dead up until this point. When I opened it, it said, "I'm alive." So I knew my mom was alive, and there was supposed to be an address on there, but we forgot to write that. And so I knew where the address was, because in the book I knew where it was, so it didn't really matter now. And my dad found out, and he was like, "Well, you weren't supposed to see that." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So then me and my dad, we went on the bed, and he had to talk to me about things. I didn't know what he was talking about until he started talking about Wellington for some reason, and I don't know why he was, until he told me that he killed him. He killed Wellington, and then I got really, really mad. So I lashed out at him and I started beating him up, and I beat him up and I pushed him off, and I was like, I started beating him up and I pushed him off, and he killed Wellington. That's bad. So I went to my room and I came back downstairs to see if my dad was awake. So I tried to see if he was awake by bumping into things really loudly, and he wasn't asleep, definitely, but I kept doing things to make sure he was asleep. And yeah, he was really out. He was not waking up, but I had to double make sure. So I started punching things as hard as I could, and I scared the cat. And then I went up to him and I smelled him, and you can't see it, but he told me to go outside because I didn't know what to do. So I went outside, and this is where I started to run away to go to London to see my mom, because that's where she lives. And as I was running, it was really cold out there, and it was wet, and my socks get really wet, and it was really scary. But I got out there, and I went to London, and I found my way over to London after I rode a train. But we didn't have a train in the set, so we didn't have a train. We couldn't fake it, because that's lame. And then we had a green screen. So I found my mom's house, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's you, Christopher. I love you, Christopher." But that doesn't happen yet, because I'm going way too fast. Just wait a second. Okay, and then I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's my mom. I found her." And she says, "It's me, Christopher. It's me." And then she tries to hug me like an idiot. So I punch her as hard as I can, and I fall over because I'm super cool. And then she remembers that you can't hug me, so we do the thing with the hands, and it's like hugging for me, and it means that I love her. And then she's giving me a bath, and my dad walks in. He's like, "What are you doing to my son?" And then they have an argument, and I'm kind of just there like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm scared of father, and I like mom, so I want to go home with mother. So they ask, "Who do I want?" And I point at the one I want, and I choose mother. And then we totally botched the hand thing, which I would have punched her if that actually happened, but that take's already over. And my dad is like, "Whoa, dude." And then we lived happily ever after with my mom and my new dog and my dad, who's also there.